What is the best 90s rock band of all time? The only right answer is the band that sings songs that remind us of the good time and sings songs that remind us of the better times. I'm just here upvoting all the bands I like. The Cranberries also. Amazing. Iconic. Also Pixies. Alice in Chains. I don't know about the best, but when I think of 90s bands, the most iconic I can think of is the Pixies. Soundgarden. So subjective. So many great bands that made a huge impact. Tool, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Melvins. If you're not familiar with Melvins, check out the album Houdini. Kurt from Nirvana used to roadie for them occasionally. Rage Against the Machine. Alice in Chains. Radiohead. Garbage. Pearl Jam. For me it was Rem. That voice. Of all time but just confined to the 1990s. The Offspring. Stone Temple Pilots. 9 Inch Nails. The Tragically Hip. Pearl Jam. Pavement. Stone Temple of the Foo Garden Tool. Faith No More. Smashing Pumpkins. Three Way. Alice in Chains, and Pearl Jam. Everclear. Korn. Tool. Nirvana. Dinosaur Jr. This one is really difficult to nail down. I'm sure it's easy to come up with a top 10, but to pick the top? I'm going Pearl Jam or Tool, even though Nirvana should be up there. Alas and tragically, their run was cut far too short. Garbage. Pearl Jam. It's secretly gin blossoms, but everyone is afraid to admit it. Weezer. Blur. Phenomenal songwriting. They had a sound, but there's nothing samey about their music. They kept it fresh and exciting. Damon Albarn's vocals were an affecting cross between Paul Weller and Ian Hunter. The guitar assault was fierce, but never overwhelmed the melodies. I dare anyone to dislodge the bass line to Coffee TV from their brains. Just a great band all around. Modest Mouse. Temple of the Dog. Radiohead. Local H. Slipknot. Smashing Pumpkins. Deftones. Nirvana. Why is nobody mentioning the fun-loving Criminals? 311. Alice in Chains. Red Hot Chili Peppers. You now own 100 exact copies of the last thing you bought. What is it and how do you feel? That's a lot of pizza. If OnlyFans subscriptions don't count, then I have 100 club-size Welch's Fruit Snacks boxes. Depressed. 100 deodorants. Well, I guess it isn't useless. Hogwarts Legacy so can probably make a bit of money reselling, though Twitter is really gonna hate me. I bought a pair of refurbished VR controllers that are in the mail right now. I guess I can sell them. If that happens, now I have 100 carbon fiber violin bows. 100 tacos? That's fine with me. Lime juice? God damn it. Unlucky. Blueberry donuts out the. Lots of towels. Overwhelmed as nowhere to put them. Don't want to pay my pub tab 100 times TBH. 100 train tickets valid only today are pretty useless. I'll just get on with my day. Damn it, Snapple, I could have 100 scratch-offs if I wasn't thirsty too. Oh man. I'm going to die of alcohol poisoning. How would that work with a digital game purchase? Water supply for a whole month, y'all. I guess I have energy drinks for the rest of the year or so. It was a bunch of games at once, so I'd what would count as last. I feel unironically based. That's a lot of hookers. Like, an uncomfortable amount. I'm a bit concerned. Great. I now have 25 ounces of a pack of Marlboro Black, short, red stripe. Saying this is reflex since Marlboro packs all look the same to cashiers who don't smoke. I can't imagine what it's like in plain package countries. I'd be much smokier. I would have far too much chocolate in my house and have to start giving it away. A half-ounce X100 makes me very very happy. 100 donuts. I ain't complaining. 100 losing lotto tickets. It was good pad thai, so yeah. I'm happy. Lifesaver gummies. I'm a speedrun diabetes. The last thing I bought was an Escort for $300 each. Does this mean I get 100 free hours of Neato? Lol. A pair of shoes that don't fit. Vibrating massage roller. Gentlemen, I may be gone for some time. I'm never going to be able to drink all this milk in time. What was ruined because too many people started doing it? My ex. Now TikTok trends. Climbing Everest. Every restaurant near me that didn't. Like Yogi Berra said, no one goes there anymore, it's too busy. That time when TikTok creators revealed that giant free book repository, so it got shut down. TikTok. Streaming content creation. Reddit. Anime reaction YouTube channels. Pokemon Go. Servers crash 24/7. Open water swimming. Every bugger is doing it now. Disc golf. I'm all for people trying it out, but the number of new players since Rona is just insane. Clogged courses on weekends, litter, loud slow groups that don't follow basic etiquette. Just a matter of preference and timing. Pretty much any fad that has ever existed. Anime and cooking videos. Fresh flower fields. The Macarena. JK. Snarky comments on the internet. The internet. Craft beer. Brewers are forced to make that tastes like fruit juice and smoothies and chocolate milk to be successful. And good breweries that just make beer-flavored beer are going under with all the hype-chasing, trendy, social media-savvy competition. Yes, I'm old. Why does that matter? Driving, beating off reputations and stereotypes toward a certain group of people based on their races, ages, birthdays, religions, genders, etc. Discrimination generates hatred. The earth, there's not as much space as there used to be because people were doing it. Breathing an answer from Mother Nature. Definitely not acting civilized. Ah yes, eternal September, video games. Chat, always busy now. Fast food hacks from TikTok. Now there's a demographic who relied on rewards points for app purchases, and they can't even have a proper free meal menu item once in a while because people showed ways to hack the system. I hate to break it to y'all, but most of these were cursed way before it became popular. Earth, surfing, having kids. When everyone wanted to buy a Tesla Model 3 in the default white color. Then it looks a sea of white platypuses zipping around. Character eye. Now they got a lame filter. Living. No Roman emperor ever tasted a tomato. And a Therizinosaurus will never know the crispness of a Pringle. And apparently Romans thought garlic was. Makes you wonder if Romans would even like Italian food. No Italian did before Columbus. And sometime after, because people thought they were poisonous just because they're related to nightshade. Most 10-year-old boys with phones today have seen more women than any of them ever had in their entire lives. None of them ever responded to a friend request on Facebook either. The tomato and the light bulb were popularized at the same time in Italy. Also proven by the fact that a Caesar salad doesn't have tomatoes. Italians didn't know what the tomato was. Irish didn't know what the potato was. Hungarians didn't know what paprika was. Norse always knew what fermented fish was. They preferred garum anyway, which was a fermented fish sauce. I point out things like this to my history students all the time, how what we associate with some place as part of their traditional culture is often from a specific era of their culture. It's fun to think about. Not by a whole lot, though, since Constantine XI only died around 40 years before the European discovery of America. And of course if we're counting Holy Roman emperors, they definitely did. Probably starting with Maximilian II. Romans didn't have tomatoes. Nobody who was alive during the height of the Byzantine Empire has ever touched my balls. Pizza existed when Virgil wrote the Aeneid for Augustus, and he put its creation to the aftermath of Troy. So essentially there was 2,000 years of pizza without even a hint of tomatoes. No, I guess not, but who has time to eat when you are your guest's wife in front of everyone? Nobody who was alive during the height of the Byzantine Empire has ever touched my balls. No, I guess not, but who has time to eat when you are your guest's wife in front of everyone? Or exercised on a Peloton? What about ketchup on their fries? Or exercised on a Peloton? Tomatoes were thought to be poisonous at the time. Understandable, since tomatoes are part of the nightshade plant family. And no one alive has ever tasted silphium. No one can say which is better. When the Italians did add tomato to their dishes, was it called a fusion cuisine? What are your pets' names and why did you name them that? He's gray. He brings me joy and he's castrated Theon Greyjoy. My cat's name is reply to my security question. Also, what's your mother's maiden name and street you grew up on? Dr. Mew came first. Then a little later I adopted another kitty and went with Pollack. True to their names, Pollack wants the doctor dead. Then I found a stray and named her Crookshanks because I had ran out of Doctor Who puns. Sounds like someone's after passwords. Mochi, I was going through an ugh phase. Cut to. My ex thought it'd be funny to name him Kuda, but I didn't think she was funny, so I renamed him to that after we broke up. My first dog was named Rusty when I picked her up from the pound. I didn't name her. My current puppy, when I got her, she was super tiny and had blonde fur. So being a fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I named her Buffy. Her full name is Princess Buffington Wigglebottoms. My current kitty is just known as Kitty because she's a stray that adopted me and she responds to that name. My cat is called Pancake, because she is the same color, think crepes, because I'm European thanks, and likes to plop on the ground like a giant blob of goo. Salem. That was her name so I kept it. Gibbs, McGee's Eva. I love NCIS. Santa is our boy cat. We got him in November, and when I asked my 7-year-old brother what we should call him, that's what he chose. Luna is our girl cat and she's named that way because she has long white hair and it made us think of the moon. I dunno. We regret it and she doesn't even answer to it anyway. Oh, my cat's name is Spangles. My class of children voted and chose the name Pinku. I have no clue, it's just popped in my mind and sounded cute. I have a cat and he's called Herod because he hates children. Emily after my WoW warrior. I have a corn snake. Corn snake are orange and pumpkins are orange, so he is called Pumpkin. I have one cat called Panther. Chairman Meow because he's in charge. What's a wildly interesting fact not a lot of people know? To scale, the Earth is smoother than a marble. Despite all the mountains and trenches, O.J. Simpson was originally considered to play the role the Terminator. James Cameron decided against casting him, citing that his public persona would prevent him being believable to audiences as a killer. Last year it cost $510,000 used to fill each balloon with helium for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. There are many balloons. And that's the helium costs alone for each. That beavers maintain the freshness of their food by planting it in the floor of their pond. A person from Australia and another from Alaska have more similar DNA than two people from neighboring villages in Africa. This is due to a bottleneck event where all humans outside of Africa are a descendant from a few thousand humans who migrated from Africa. Most power outages in the US are caused by squirrels. The one that blows my mind is that Cleopatra was alive closer to the moon landing than the building of the pyramids. Like, what? Ancient Egypt was truly such a long-lasting empire, and we always think of Cleopatra as being from the really old times, but she was relatively modern. Elephants use their as an extra leg for support sometimes. They also have basically the same range of control over it as their trunk. Also, that nuclear waste is impossible to contain by our current knowledge of the world. The Mona Lisa has no eyebrows. There's a company that turns dead bodies into an ocean reef. Eternal reefs. African elephant's ears are shaped like Africa and Indian elephant's ears are shaped like India. Australia is the only continent whose indigenous people never independently developed the bow and arrow. Edit for grammar. A million seconds is 12 days. A billion seconds is 31 years. A trillion seconds is 31,688 years. It rains diamonds on Saturn. Black hole stars are the parents of supermassive black holes. Crows are neophilic when they are young, and become neophobic when they get older. In Russia in 2009 Winnie the Pooh was banned because a senior official was found to own a picture of Pooh wearing swastika-covered clothes. Women who are still virgins, what are you waiting to find? I've never been interested in anyone enough to have with them, and I'm totally at peace with that. The right person to lose it to. There's no point in going out and just hooking up with someone after waiting this long. I'm just waiting for guys to be bored with hookup culture. I'm waiting for someone kind, gentle, who I can feel safe and comfortable with. I don't need to be swept off my feet, but I want to be and feel safe. I've just turned 21 this past week, so at this point I may as well keep waiting until someone worthwhile comes along. I'm not waiting for. I don't want to have someone I can trust. I'm waiting till marriage, because I'm Asian and I'm living with my parents. Nothing, if it's that important for me to lose my virginity, I would have called years ago. A pelvic floor physical therapist with an opening for vaginismus treatment. Lol. Someone I'm actually attracted to and who's attracted to me. The right person. I have many issues I'm working on. I'm not waiting to find anything, I've just never been around someone who was interested in me. I'm not too strong in the looks department either, so I suspect I'll remain this way for the rest of my life. I don't think about it that much, but when I do, it kinda makes me feel bad. To become the sorceress supreme. I'm in a weird dilemma. I want to explore my sexuality but at the same time do not want the hassle of commitment, and I still kinda have this belief in saving myself for marriage or the right person. Like, not but I waited longer than most, to have. Because I was waiting for true love. I didn't want to have. Until I was with someone I thought I'd be with forever. That, of course, didn't go exactly as I planned. A healthy, kind, caring and respectful person who can get over the fear of having someone who likes me at least. Someone who wants doctors to finally help with my vulvodynia. I waited a while because I was scared. Trying to put in tampons hurt, so I was pretty sure would too. I wanted to be sure it was with someone I fully trusted who wouldn't make it any more painful and wouldn't get upset if I wanted to stop. Video game developers of Reddit. What do you wish people understood about your job and industry? Most devs are extremely passionate about what they do, but can be limited by people above them that stifle their ability to really do what they think needs to be done to make the game better. So much money, time and talent has gone to waste in favor of pleasing shareholders. Leaking games really sucks for the people who work on them. It's depressing and really can hurt motivation. Having some selfish person record and leak content in a half-finished state sucks. Everyone wants their work to show in the best light and they look forward to seeing reactions when it's announced. Scope. That's the answer anytime you find yourself thinking we should have added something to a game that isn't there. We definitely thought about it too. Maybe even tried to make it happen. Scope creep is real and burnout is bad. Sometimes we just have to make the tough choice and cut it. We're passionate about what we do and work on, and only want the best finished product in the hands of you, the players. When things don't always go to plan, there are setbacks, delays, things have to get cut, etc. It's never an easy decision for us. But we always do our best to deliver and ship something we all want to be proud of. Making a game requires time and effort. We can't shove out games like bunnies make babies, we need a lot of time. Even to make the simplest platformer game, you need to make gimmicks to make the game stand out more, or it won't get popular at all. If you think it's full of glitches now, you have no idea what it looked like a month ago. Quote from a family friend: "Not a game developer, but a programmer in general. Even if you have a strong knowledge of the architecture involved, it can be very hard to estimate how hard a thing will be to do with more precision than days, weeks, months of effort." People complaining about bugs, or the time it takes to develop a feature typically have no clue at all how hard or easy the thing they are demanding will be. Yes, this game has a QA team. It's their job to report bugs. The publisher decides whether they get fixed before release. Once you've learned a language, you can't hear it without understanding it ever again. I'm perfectly capable of hearing my native language and not understanding it, it just has to be in a song. Not true at all. Accents, dialects are totally a thing, and I've heard accents of English that sound like complete gibberish to me. Here's a video showing how certain accents, dialects can affect one's ability to understand a known language. Guy off camera doesn't understand what the other three are saying in their normal accents. Oh, you absolutely can. I speak a second language, and when I wake up in the morning and I'm alert, I can understand it pretty well. If I am exhausted and can barely stay awake, I can still understand my first language, but have trouble with my second language. If you don't practice a language, then just like anything else, you will forget elements of it. Also, go to any sub on here and you'll find evidence of people using English that even its most fluent readers can even begin to parse. That's not true. English-speaking people online are constantly speaking gibberish that makes no sense at all. Dead wrong. Language is considered a fresh commodity. You use it or you forget it. Point in case, I've lost most of my vocabulary in German and practically all of it in Spanish, while I am still bilingual, know most of a couple of others and am learning yet another. Use it or lose it. Not true. I know several people who forgot either a second language or their very first language. My guy, the average French person speaks at the pace of MM's rap songs. Imagine a French rapper. I was at the airport once and didn't understand what the cashier said to me in English because I was expecting her to speak Hungarian. Lol. That is very much not true. And yes, username checks out. This is just wrong. Language is a perishable skill. If you don't use it or practice it regularly, you'll forget things and need to relearn. Initially seems like a good shower thought, but are you even bilingual yourself? Sometimes I can't even understand songs in my native language or a dialect. You're forgetting the good old its effect on brain function. Sadly. Wait. What was I talking about? People fear non-existence after death, but they didn't fret over their non-existence prior to life. People don't experience their own pre-life, but they do in general get to experience their own pre-death. So really it's an epistemology issue over what a person could have knowledge of, and a realization that that knowledge is typically accompanied by lots of physical pain and emotional duress. I fear the effect my non-existence will have on those who exist. Time is not replaceable. Make sure you spend most of it working a job you hate and the rest of it asleep. Follow me for more pro tips. You're channeling Michel de Montaigne. He said this back in the 16th century, and therefore to lament that we shall not be alive 100 years hence is the same folly as to be sorry we were not alive 100 years ago. Non-existence is the most comforting thing about the idea of death. I don't fear it at all. On his deathbed, Hume made the point that he was no more bothered by ceasing to exist than he was bothered by his non-existence before birth. Oh, I do all the time. It's deeply disturbing to me, much as death is. This is my belief. I've made comments stating this on askreddit posts in the past. I was dead for eternity before I was alive and it didn't bother me any. I mean, you don't know what you can miss until you have it, so no one cared they didn't exist when they didn't exist, but as soon as we exist we want to keep existing because we know what existing feels like, but before we existed we didn't know what existing feels like, so we couldn't miss it. Because it's in the past. The past does hurt, but you can run from it, or learn from it. Object reality is life. Subjective reality is death. It's as simple as that. In my humble opinion, I think that we all get recycled when we die because nature loves cycles. You're implying that you didn't exist before this life. Regardless of what you believe, you have never done this cycle before. You're prior, current, and former. You cannot with any percentage of confidence state that the prior and former are equal. Therefore, you have no idea, and that's what people fear. Don't be silly. They weren't alive to fret over it, and once you are, what was there to fret about? You made it, you're alive. Pretty asinine shower thought. Maybe UFOs are radioactive and that's why the footage of them is always blurry. This post reminded me of Mitch Hedberg's Bigfoot joke. Maybe it's not the photos of Bigfoot that are bad. Maybe he's just blurry. You try zooming in on a jetliner at cruising altitude with your phone and see if it's crystal clear. I think it's cause people are using their camera phones to zoom in on a mile up in the sky. Technically you could throw a rock at someone and if they don't know what hit them they got hit by a UFO. That reminds me of the Mitch Hedberg joke. I think Bigfoot is blurry, that's the problem. It's not the photographer's fault. Or try taking a photo of something moving with nothing more than a disposable camera or iPhone 7, same results if something can't focus fast enough. Would radioactivity blur the photo though? I mean sure it's some form of light, but on a completely different wavelength. Or are you thinking about some dissipation effects that would cause the air to heat up, which changes the refractive index? That's why all pics of nuclear reactors and atom bombs are blurry. Would radioactivity blur the photo though? I mean sure it's some form of light, but on a completely different wavelength. Or are you thinking about some dissipation effects that would cause the air to heat up, which changes the refractive index? Maybe Sasquatch is radioactive too. His footage is always blurry and grainy. If they're that advanced, I would assume they're emitting clean energy even if they use radioactive as their fuel. Well, if a UFO can do what it's doing, it has to have an anti-gravity device, an anti-inertia device, etc. At this point, how do we not know it's just like the aurora in the sky, except around a vehicle? If you look deep into this kind of stuff, it's actually pretty amazing. Radiation produces noise. In an analog system it exposes film when it shouldn't be, and in digital it trips photocells when it shouldn't. The image is still sharp, just noiser. You don't need to take a photo with a digital camera, there are other types of cameras. What did you have for lunch today? Chipotle, Taco Bell, hot dog, rice and chicken with vegetables, boiled eggs, fish and bowl of vegetables. Trying to get back in shape before a vacation, hence such bland diet. Jollibee spicy chicken, with spaghetti, and a Coke float. Spinach cheese. I forgot to eat lunch. Taco Tuesday. A pretzel. No lunch. I only ever eat dinner and that's it. Sleep. Hopefully tomorrow I can have some of my sister's cooking. Turkey sandwich. Cake with sorry written on top. Lay's chips. I didn't lol. Toast. Ham and cheese roll with mustard. Fruit salad and ice cream. A chicken schnitzel pita sandwich. Southeast Asian here, so rice, tofu, sauce. Tumbleweed rolls by. Butter noodles, added some parmesan to it. It was good. I had roasted chicken, a plate of beans, a salad with blue cheese dressing at home, sushi, food, bulgur and barbecue, nothing. Water fasting, a pizza.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.